The colonel had mentioned that the suicide rate for soldiers in the National Guard is very high, higher than the regular army, or at least that's stats that he had seen. What can soldiers do to help combat that? What are some of the steps that they can take, or their officers, or the National Guard community to help alleviate?
I think just by speaking to other soldiers, I think sometimes as soldiers we are so afraid to speak of our issues because of the pride thing. We are soldiers, we put on the uniform, so we're perceived as superhumans. And so when we have a problem or issue such as PTSD, we don't want to share that because we are afraid that we may be looked upon in an aspect that is not conducive to being that superhuman person. And so then that problem becomes a bigger problem because now it's a personal problem that affects not only yourself, it affects your unit, it affects your family, and it affects everything that you do. So I think they're just basically speaking up and say, hey, there is a problem here. Let's try to fix it. I've met soldiers who personally suffer from the issue, but they're so afraid to mention it. And so they develop their own ways of coping with the issue, and that's only temporarily because that issue will become a bigger problem somewhere down the line. You may know how to deal with it right now. However, if something else happens that may trigger some of those emotions and those feelings, it can become a bigger problem. So I just think this speaking up, talking to other soldiers, talking to leaders who've been through the same situations, members who've deployed multiple times, that will help alleviate some of the issues that we are dealing with as far as PTSD is concerned.
Are there support groups that people can come and talk and meet and talk to other soldiers?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm glad you asked that question because just today I was talking to a director who he's come here in the past. I invited him, he came and he did a play. Okay, and you gotta make it fun, you gotta make it interesting for soldiers, not just give them lessons, because if you want to read something, okay, you get so far, but the attention span is not there. However, we invited, I believe a year ago, 2 years ago, we invited a production team that came and did a play of Sophocles. Sophocles, it was written by, the name of the play was Ajax. Ajax is the first cousin of Achilles, and this is what he found. And the Trojan War had lasted, according to Sophocles, for 10 years. So Achilles was he had a high degree of PTSD, but he didn't know. And this is what he did. The play is about what he did when he found out that Achilles had died in combat, and the PTSD totally took over his life, and he winds up committing suicide. And then after the play, after the reading, which by the way is a lot of fun because it's Broadway actors or movie actors and it's high names. So there is that notoriety of knowing that famous people are in the armory, so you come and see it, and you see the play, and then we shut off all the cameras. Nobody's allowed to tape anything and no pictures. And then the moderator, Brian Doherty, he speaks. And he asks people to share their opinions about how this play is applicable to their experience while deployed or in life as a soldier. So people really open up to him. This is a very, very accurate and successful method of talking to soldiers and get them to speak about their emotions and get them to speak about what their feelings are. And what obstacles they're going through. So Sergeant Reynolds touched on a very important subject, which was communication. And the Army is also big on teaching us about how to identify the factors that lead to or could lead to suicide. So we, as a commander, I used to see Colonel Harris do this. He would talk to people, but while you're talking to people, you are really touching the pulse of that person, not just as a person, but as a whole, as a family-oriented person. You talk to a platoon leader, hey, how's your platoon going? Oh well, little Private Snuffy, had a problem with wife or probably Snuffy had a problem with his child while he was deployed, and he felt very limited in the things that he could do. And then now you have the command awareness, and you go talk to that guy. Hey, how's your day going? How you feeling? Because you're looking for those signs of how this person is really doing in regards to PTSD or in regards to life in general. And then you assess, should I put him in contact with the chaplain? Should I put him in contact with a therapist? What should I do? Or is the guy good to go? He fixed everything that he needed to fix, and he's okay now. But this play really helps you because it's conducive to getting people to talk. Once you and not just that, but you have no ranks, you have no names while you are watching this play. You have just plain people talking about their experiences, and other people listen and say, wow, I felt the same way, and he's talking about it, and he's a leader. I could talk about it too. So the Army is doing a lot of things, I think, to try to keep the issue at a very low rate or non-existent. That's what we're doing regarding suicide prevention and post-traumatic stress disorder.
I find it remarkable that a play written thousands of years ago
2,500 years ago.
so applicable to today.
Yes. Ajax, a soldier that had been in the Trojan Wars, he was strong, he was big. The war got to him, and this is what he did. When Achilles died, the armor he felt should have been given to him, but he saw that the armor of Achilles was given to a general who was just a politician. He just shook the right hands, he belonged to the right circles, and he received the armor, and he flipped. And this is when he started, the play takes place, and this is what he does. And he winds up finding no worth in anything. He was so disillusioned that he committed suicide. And no one saw the pointers that he had displayed that this was going to happen. This was the culmination of such a heavy burden on him. So it's very, it teaches a lot, the play, I believe. And this is what the aim is by the Army, by the military, to try to teach and to try to prevent.